Hello everybody, my name is Firo and today I'm going to update you on my comic and talk about why I don't want to be a professional illustrator. Based solely on my online personality, there are hints that I study music at university, but I have never officially talked about why I am going to music school instead of art school. I find most people who have an art account of some sort are professional or are trying to be professional artists. I don't want to discourage anyone from wanting to be a full-time artist, but I am going to share some of my experience doing commissions in illustration and music, and why I ultimately chose the latter. First, I would like to update you on my comic Mischief. In this video, you will be watching me struggle to ink 2 pages, which is huge progress because it is the first time in 5 years that I have gotten beyond this checkpoint in the story. In the past, this is the moment where I would change the story or restart completely, so finally I have broken that wall down and it feels pretty awesome. School starts tomorrow and I plan to leave at least 1 day a week solely for comic work, but things happen, so if I don't upload for a while, know that I am still working on it. I just might not be filming it because I have other more pressing assignments to get done. A small backstory on my educational life is that I went to film school for 2 years. I left with a diploma and then I got accepted into illustration school, but dropped out right before I bought the plane tickets to leave because I had this calling to music. I then practiced piano and composition in order to get into a pretty decent composition school, and tomorrow I start my 3rd year. Only recently have I uploaded any of my music online. Go check out my channel, Firo Musix, linked below. And I don't even really write music in my spare time, so why on earth did I choose it over something I am clearly already pretty good at and seemingly more passionate about? The first reason is because I hate doing commissions. Hate them. Being a professional in any field means you have to do tasks which you dislike to do the things that you like, and I was never willing to do the things I disliked. With illustration, if I hated doing a commission, it was impossible for me to hide it. For example, most customers would ask me to draw in a specific style that looks nothing like what I usually draw, and when I couldn't do it, they would ask me to change it. After some back and forth, I would have difficulty retaining my frustration, and it clearly shows in my art. Most importantly, these projects were a distraction from the comics I really wanted to draw, and no amount of money made up for the burnout I felt after every commission. One terrible job I took nearly stopped me from drawing completely, and I'm still waiting to be paid for it. Music, however, was different, maybe because I'm a beginner and not as emotionally connected to the craft, but I think of it completely different. In the past, I've done some film scores as well as pieces for classical ensembles, and each commission felt more akin to a puzzle than a reflection of my identity as an artist. Even if some of the films absolutely sucked, I didn't care because my job was to make the filmmakers look better. And if the score sounded good, then bonus. It also helps that the people who hire you to score a movie are more likely to accept that they know nothing about music, and it's easier to negotiate experimental ideas, so as long as the final product does its job, everyone's happy. When musicians hire you, they usually give you free rein to do whatever you want, so as long as they looked good, then they're happy. However, anyone who hired me to illustrate knew exactly what they already wanted before contacting me. So when my illustrations didn't look to a T what they had envisioned, they would be upset and ask for more redos. This is when I realized something very important. In order to be a professional artist, you have to enjoy the craft more than the final product. With illustration, I only enjoy comics. My comics, and even then I have difficulty finding motivation to pick up my pen on a good day. But with music, the fun part is making it. Sometimes things turn out bad, but the process of making music, learning about new instruments, working with the musicians and adapting to everyone's needs is the fun part. It's like a puzzle. All the pieces are there, I just have to solve it. I don't know if that revelation is something anyone else has experienced, so I wanted to mention that it is okay to post art without the expectation that you will make money from it. If you do, great. But that shouldn't always be the end goal. The second reason is because I am way too attached to my illustrations. It's almost psychotic. In the past, I've tried to submit my comics to publishing companies, but I was almost relieved every time they got rejected. The thought that some company would have partial ownership of my work felt very scary. I don't know why, maybe because of all the terrible live actions and remakes of other people's great work. I know my comics would probably never see that light, but what if they did? And I couldn't bear to have an editor look at my work and ask me to change things, remove pages or queer references because they didn't fit the code of the publisher. I make hundreds of mistakes and continuity errors in every panel of my comic. I couldn't make those mistakes with an editor. I would never finish my book. Before I started writing comics, I had this strange fear that I would get famous with my work and people would want to change it. This is probably why I was so bad at commissions. As a kid, I loved to draw and create worlds that I could escape into. They were and still are an extremely personal form of expression for me. And though I do write music based on my personal life experiences and hardships, it's easier to hide those emotions under sound waves than it is literal text and images. All in all, I'm very protective of my illustrative work because of how it served me in the past. I feel that protectiveness over certain albums and scores, but surprisingly not the music I write. The third reason may seem a little silly for some people, but I don't want my art to go to waste. Let me explain. The kind of artist I would strive to be is one who sells their comics, stickers, and other trinkets at markets and comic cons. And though I do still plan to do these things in the next few years, I feel really bad about the waste it creates. Whenever I go to independent art stores and see pins and prints selling for insanely high prices, all I can think to myself is, all this stuff is going to end up in the trash someday. And it makes me sad, not only for the artists who create these works, but the environment as well. I know that probably sounds a little dumb, but it's why I like making comics over anything else. Everyone can read one book. I mean, it's great if I sell more, but it can be reused. T-shirts can be reworn, but stickers peel off and keychains break. I couldn't help feeling guilty about the impact my art would create. Obviously, music is almost guilt-free in this way. I mean, sure, sometimes it takes power, but not in the same way as creating hundreds of plastic keychains and figurines. I don't want any artist who makes their living this way to think that I hate them, because I definitely also contribute to the issue. I just wish the world was more affordable so that we didn't have to sell so much stuff in order to make rent. Why I didn't start in music school is because it's really hard to get in, and I was not very skilled in music in the beginning. Even though I'm currently at a pretty competitive university, I had a huge advantage being 3 years older than everyone else who applied, with a diploma and a clear vision of what I wanted from my education. I did not have the opportunities of most of my peers to study from a young age, and so my skills, especially in performance, were severely lacking. But I always knew it was something I wanted to do. It's just far more accessible to pick up a pen and pencil than a $10,000 instrument, plus lessons, and thousands of hours of practicing in between school, sports, and whatever else I was doing as a kid. In conclusion, I love comics, I love drawing, but I don't think I will ever do it full time. I do have plans to set up stalls in markets once I'm done Mischief, but I consider myself more of a professional musician than an illustrator. Now that I've just been making these videos for fun, it's way more enjoyable than when I was trying to sell my personality on Instagram. It's even been helping my music side of things, which is awesome. If you would like to see what I do for music, you can follow my channel Firo Musix, link in the description below. It's mostly contemporary music stuff, and I'm still learning, so please be kind. But I do have plans to mix the two channels and do something really cool, so stay tuned for that. Adios!